already there, folks. Knife lovers from around the world. What do we got here? CRKT's in the house. Yes, and what is this knife? Let's get the label end here. Liong Mah G.S.D. Get stuff done. Model 3710. It's not getting stuff done. It's getting shit done. That's what it's getting. It's getting some shit done. All right. What kind of knife is this? Well, it's a knife that has a 3.2-inch blade, and it has IKBS bearings. Can you see that logo right there? IKBS G.S.D. Liong Mah design. His design and the model number 3710. It's AUS 8 steel. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick. Not real thick blade stock. And it's got these VEF serrations on this one. And the reason I got the one with the serrations, because you can get them without serrations, is because it was cheap. It was cheaper. It was cheaper. So you know my motivations. I'm all over the place. G10 backspacer. Black G10 backspacer. Look at that pocket clip. You can go left hand, right hand, frame lock, 25-30% lock up, centered blade, and yeah. And you know why it's flipping so good? Because I've been flipping it for 3 days now, and I think maybe I've got it broke in. Maybe, kind of getting there. This 420J steel that's on here, it's kind of got that tumbled finish, stonewash finish. When I first got these out of the box, it was like, and there's a guy on Knife Center. See, here's Knife Center, $51, blah, blah, blah. And he said, I had 10 of my friends, right-handed, 10 of my friends try to open this knife on first attempt, and not one of them could get it all the way open on their first attempt. Now, these are flipping pretty good, actually. The hotter those bearings get, the better they flip. If you hold it in your hand and warm it up, I don't know. It's just so weird. And here's the deal. I got like 4 of these knives because it was such a good deal. And I thought I'd do my 2,000 sub giveaway. I thought I'd give some of these away. I don't know how you feel about that, but I got one of these. And I think it'd be a good thing, right? I got one of these over a year ago. And because Liong Mah, it's like, oh my God. I mean, when I heard that that CRKT was putting out a knife with his design, I was like, and IKBS bearings, I just thought, oh, this is so crazy good. And when they got out, I grabbed one. And I opened the box. And I go, oh my God. I go, oh my God. And I go, And I thought, wow. And that was before I kind of got into, I didn't really give it a chance to break in, to loosen up, to do what it does. And they're stiff. They're a little stiff out of the box. So no, you're not going to be excited about the way they flip. You're not. You are not. I'll guarantee you. Except for these, which I'm giving away, which now I've opened and closed a million times and put a little bit of dry lube and this and that and twisted them and whatever to get a little bit of, a little bit loosened up. Like that's doing any good. I miss. See, you got to be very intentional about this. But I didn't give it enough of a chance. And I got the No Time Off knife, which you can look up. That's an Icoma design. And I love that knife. Same IKBS bearing system, apparently. And it flipped like a dream. And it was like, oh, I love that knife. I love that knife. I got to get one on my channel. It's just so good. And I just was so disappointed because I love this design so much. And I just thought, oh my God, this is horrible. It's like a nightmare. It's like my dream come true and then crash and burn. But now they're flipping a lot better. Not that I don't have some complaints, because I'm going to have complaints. Oh, Fossil. And it's these things. This is my buddy Frank sent this to me. I did a review on this. This has got IKBS as well. But this thing flips like a dream. I mean, and let's look at first complaint. See where the flipper tab is on the G.S.D? It's up here. There's no place to put your finger in front of that tab like there is here. There is a frame piece here. I can rest my finger on this. I've got some angle on that, some physics. Another thing, look at the height of the tab. Much shorter, much more rounded off, really tough to get a grip on that tab. And as difficult as this thing tries to be in flipping open, you'd think you'd give yourself a little bit taller tab and put it a little bit further back. And I think it would be great. Now, it'd probably screw up the whole design idea that Liong had, but I don't know, Liong. I just think it'd be better that way. And there were complaints because of that. One of the reviewers online that wrote a big old long review was not that pleased about the way they opened, but loved the way they cut and worked. And there was another issue. Let's go to number 2. You know what? Heck with that. Let's do some other things first. Here's what we're going to do. Let's just do the basic stats here first. Okay, so we got to get to this middle flat part. Okay, so we got 3.3 millimeters for, and it's 0.124. So it's an 1/8 inch. Did I say quarter before? 1/8 inch blade stock. I mean, you can't measure it from up here. You got to measure it from this flat. Some guy was saying, oh, I need to know what the measurement, I think on the Chinese knives though, of what it is right behind the blade. Right? And probably maybe in millimeters more than anything else. And I don't know if this is doing anybody any good, and then you move in right behind that and you take another measurement. So I don't know. In any case, if that does anybody any good, let me know. I'm not sure it's doing me any good. Next. And here we go. Here we go into maybe bitch and moan session on this. Really? Can we not zero out that 1/1000th of an inch thing? 0.395 of an inch, which is 10 millimeters. 0.395 of an inch. Let's just look at this one. See this Fossil? It's old Fossil. 15/6 of an inch. Here's the deal. When you hold a knife in your hand, you want something to hold on to. You got 6/10 of an inch here. That really fills up your hand. This is less than 4/10 of an inch. It's a really skinny knife. But as a hard user, it's kind of hard to get a hold of. It's, especially, I guess, if you had gloves on, it's just so thin. That is probably my biggest bitch with this knife. I love the fact it's got IKBS bearings. And you know what? I took one of the 4 knives, I took it apart. Because I didn't know, I had never been face to face with the true IKBS bearings. Let me give you a little insight. Don't do it. Don't do it. I did. I unscrewed this sucker. I pulled the scale off, and the bearings went everywhere, all over the floor, because I wasn't over a nice little heavy, deep tray or with a cloth on it or something. And you got to be careful. You pull the scale off, you do it very gently because you've got bearings in the race area that's milled into the blade pivot. And those are little teeny tiny bearings all the way around. And they're not caged. They're not held in by anything. If they're held together by anything, it's a little bit of lubricant in that little groove that they sit in. So if you just like flip it off and you turn the knife like that accidentally, they're all just going to go flying out all over the counter, which they did. And I had fun gathering them all up, all over everywhere and putting them back in. It was a pain in the butt. Not going to do that again. Not going to ever take one of these apart again. Well, you can, and if you're very careful and you understand that those bearings are that they're not caged or captured or anything, yeah, just be careful. Okay, so we got 8.5 centimeters. Overall, 8.5 centimeters. Overall, 19.5 centimeters, which is like 7 5/8 inches overall. Supposed to be 3.32 inch blades, so let's find out if we're getting there. Yeah. 3 3/8. Not quite 3.5. So we've got that down. Let's do one more thing before I start into my bitch and moan session. Because I got some bitching and moaning to do like an old lady. Sorry, but that's what you get for having expectations. Oh, if you ever decide to get married, if you're not married, don't have expectations. It just screws everything up. 5.4 ounces. What you need to do is just surrender. You'll get along a lot better. Just a little marital advice. 152 grams. So 152 grams, 5.4 ounces. I mean, we're talking about a knife that's under 3.5 inches in blade length. It is very thin, and it still weighs 5.4 ounces. That's a pretty good chunk of change for a knife that is this small and this thin. Okay, here's my deal. I like having this sculpted clip. I think it's great. Some people think it's so inflexible that it kind of grabs on the lip of your jeans and, jerks off and not real good. I can get along with that. This, I don't get. I mean, if you're going to go industrial for steel and everything, why are we doing G10 in the back? Why don't we just have open standoffs? I mean, we could put 2, 3 in here real easy. I just think I'd rather have an open standoffs. And we're talking about a work knife. So we're talking about something you need to hose out, clean out, maybe, whatever. I'm thinking that it would be better to do that. Just my observation. There you go. Here's how it operates. I mean, it is a one-handed knife. Once you get these bearings broke in, I put a little bit of tough lube in there, and I think the tough lube at first kind of, not sure it really helps. But I think over a period of a day or so, it kind of it does a better job of lubricating, especially if you're doing this all the time. And it also dissipates some of its stickiness. I know that sounds strange for lube, but it seems like it gets better as far as giving freedom of movement to things that it comes in contact with over a period of a day or two. So it works a lot better now. So I won't be so worried about putting these on my 2,000 subscriber giveaway, because actually I have them broke in. Now I just need to work on the other two. But yeah, you can get used to this. I found it initially painful to flip these knives. There's something about having to put your finger out in the middle of nowhere. It's in outer space. You don't get to lay it down on the scale and slide it back. You have to find your tab out in space. Then you have to flip it backwards. And this flipper tab is really hard. I don't know if it's the detent or the fact that it's thinner stock or the actual design of the flipper tab and the fact that it's so short, but it's like you're really coming in contact more with the peak of the tab than you are of the fullness of the front of the tab. See how I'm making contact? Not with just the peak. Like you do that all the time, it's going to dig into your finger more than if you're making contact with that. Just saying. I think these are more painful. Other than the fact that I think they're too thin, you need standoffs instead of that G10 backspacer, and you need to move the flipper tab. They're a good knife. I mean, I like the fact that I love the design. I hate to say that, but you know, I'll buy a knife just for the design, and some of the other ergonomics just don't get there. But in this one, I mean, they are sharp. AUS 8, I told you that, right? Really sharp, really sharp, really sharp. So they're really cool. I mean, you want a knife that'll cut things. That's great. And I'm with that, but as far as comfort in the hand, I just don't feel like I got a handful of anything. I'm telling you, my own personal opinion, I think I might have done this in G10. I would have put stainless liners. I would have put G10. If you're going to do a G10 backspacer, then do the handle in G10, make it thicker, you know, like 0.6 of an inch. I might have made the blade right at 3.5 instead of 3 5/8. I know that seems a little picky, but I think it would have made a more comfortable work knife. Sometimes, I don't know, I wonder if people at these knife companies, I'm not trying to trash CRKT because I really like a lot of their knives. I bought CRKT knives back in the 1990s. I mean, when it came out, Columbia River Knife and Tool, I thought, oh, that is such a cool sounding name. And I saw a lot of their knives, and I was buying the Carson stuff and all you know, the Desert Storm and Special Forces stuff. I loved it. Bought the crap out of it. And still like it. Hammond Cruiser and all that. But I just wanted this to be better. And I will have to say that I love the design. It cuts great. And over time, as you work with it, it'll loosen up. So, if you want, and I don't know if I gave you, you can do some pause and read if you want. And only pull this up on Knife Center, but this is the VEP Serrations, G.S.D, Liong Mah, and he's a Florida guy, does the design, 420J2, you know, this gives you everyday carry, blah, 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 and down to specs, which are next page. Just in case, maybe I didn't give you cutting length, and they didn't either. But the HRC there, 57 to 59. So, and maybe this kind of review down here was kind of interesting. I know he didn't give him a great review, but it was very sharp. I didn't find it to have a great ease of opening. And he said, you know, he says, I don't know what it is about people that design flippers, but I gave it to 10 right-handed folks, and all of them couldn't get it to open. My first left-handed try, no problem. I don't know. So, just saying, not the easiest flipper out of the box, but the more you use it, and the more even during this video, the better it's getting. So, you know, I'm not a knife designer. I'm not a knife manufacturer. Sometimes I wonder if these guys ever really sit down and live with these knives for a while when they make them, factory reps, etc. Maybe they do. I think they probably carry them from time to time. I don't know if they live with them for a long period of time. But yeah, it loosens up after a while. And I love the design. So you guys make your comments below. They're very sharp, very usable. Do not open them. Do not open them and then, because those bearings are going to go everywhere and you'll never find all of them. I swear to God, don't do it. Just leave them alone. You can adjust these. They didn't at least Loctite these things to death. So you can adjust them. So it's all good. It's all good. It's all good in the neighborhood. There you go, folks. We got 2 of them. And guess what? I'm holding on to these dogs because they're going up for my giveaway at 2,000 subs. And you know what? They're not the only thing we're going to give away. So hold on. Hold on. Because you know what we do. How many times I got to ask you? We love them knives. Yes, we do.